The original Highlander is a film that truly has earned its cult following. Sadly, the story was made in such a way that trying to continue it in further installments would be downright mind-boggling. Highlander 2: The Quickening was reviled by fans due to its departure from the original story. Maybe that blunder would talk sense to the producers? Wrong. Instead, another sequel was made, this time further following the original story. Now, initially this could be promising, but why bother? Once Connor McLeod won the prize, that was it. Yet somehow he ends up not being the only one, completely undermining the story and success from the original. The thought of continuing the concept is fine, but the original seems to have made the story too perfect to do so. With a screenplay written by Paul Ohl, his first credit, and directed by Andrew Morahan in his first theatrical film credit, this sequel is no better than Highlander 2: The Quickening. It's nice that everyone tried to approach this entry more faithfully than the last one, but even then, clearly bad decisions were made. Fans learned that before McLeod, Christopher Lambert, moved to America, but sometime after Ramirez's death, he was in Japan learning skills from another master by the name of Nakano, played by Makoto Iwamatsu, to fight against the deadly swordsman Kane, played by Mario Van Peebles, who happens to get frozen in a mountain after finding Nakano. Now, present day, long after McLeod has quote-unquote won the prize, Kane awakes to finish what he started. The writing is what really drags this potentially redeeming sequel through the mud. Ohl deserves credit for at least trying to come up with a way to continue the original, but again, the first story seemed too perfect to continue to begin with. A vast majority of this feature is retreading familiar ground that happened in the original, and even some events in the first sequel. With Kane on the loose, McLeod returns to New York, where not only does he get pursued by a new cop, Lieutenant John Sten, played by Martin Neufeld, who is looking to jail him under his pseudonym Russell Nash, McLeod also crosses paths with another woman named Alex Johnson, played by Deborah Kara Unger, who's interested in McLeod's backstory. Also, not to mention, he has an adopted son now, too, in the Middle East, named John, played by Gabriel Kagan. There are parts of the script that acknowledge the past, like mentions of the first cops who were on McLeod's tail, and McLeod's first American love interest, Brenda Wyatt. But that's it. Everything else is more or less repeated, including the line, "There can only be one." Got it, thanks. This leads audiences to believe, though, character development doesn't really exist here if familiar ideas are revisited. It really makes no sense. Continuity, while okay in some places, is problematic in other areas. Characters are able to find one another with almost no issue, even if they're countries apart. How? As for action, it's slightly better than before, but not by much. For 1994, the special effects are about the same as the last sequel. It's nice to see a different cast of actors alongside Lambert, but that's about it. The acting is just average, due to the script. Visually speaking, the camera work and set design was an improvement, mainly because the setting took place either in the mountain ranges of different countries or the urbanized streets of the city. The director of photography this time was Stephen Chivers, better known for his start with Richard Stanley's Hardware and Dust Devil. At least the shots filmed look distinguishable from each other, unlike the first sequel. As for music, the score was composed by J. Peter Robinson, probably better known for his work on Wes Craven's New Nightmare of the same year. Robinson does produce more recognizable music than the first sequel's musical score. It's still not as memorable as Michael Kamen's rendition, but it does have some Celtic flavoring sprinkled throughout. Say what you will about Highlander 2: The Quickening being a bad sequel. However, it's bad for doing something way out of whack. Unlike this sequel, which redeems itself with minimal correction in its story, with only average acting, good music, and camera work. Other than that, the action still isn't that impressive, the effects aren't top-notch, and the story is practically a complete rehash.